Tonight, the big summit between President Trump and Kim Jong Un. Joining us on the phones right now, founding partner and president of the Arkin Group, a 32-year veteran of the CIA, Jack Devine. Jack, welcome to the Chad Hasty Show. Appreciate you taking some time to join us today.
Glad to be on the show, Chad.
Talk to us a little bit about this summit that's going to be happening tonight. It appears as though, according to the AP and some other stories, that things are moving quickly in at least the pre-talks between President Trump and Kim Jong Un.
Well, look, I don't need to tell you that this is a historic event, and I must say I'm more optimistic than I was a few months ago. In fact, even a few weeks ago. I thought it'd be great if we could just get the freeze on their program, but I actually think there's an opportunity here. Having said that, I think we're going to know pretty quick. This isn't going to be a protracted, drawn-out negotiation here. I think early on they're either going to be able to set the tone or it'll collapse. And as I said, beginning this, I think we're going to be a little bit, we might be surprised that real progress is going to be made. That doesn't mean we're going to have total denuclearization next week. Okay?
Right. Well, and that's I think what a lot of people are looking at is and wondering maybe is what is the goal of this particular meeting? What do you think the goal is, or at least should be, from this meeting that's going to happen tonight?
Well, I think, honestly, when we're reading what President Trump is saying, I take him at his word. I think he's really going to size the guy up. I think Kim Jong Un is sort of in the same frame of mind. They both know what's at stake here. I mean, there's a lot of nonsense in the press that Trump is just winging it. He's not winging. He's surrounded by some of the top experts in the world that have been studying this thing, including some of my old colleagues. So I think they know the parameters. The question is, how do you kick it off? And there's going to be, quid pro quo. But this is going to be, and I think it's an opportunity to watch the art of the deal in motion on both sides. This is not amateur hour. I promise you that. So I think, at minimum, if we can stop the program where it is and have demonstrative progress with clear steps and not a prolonged discussion, and then we start to ease the sanctions and they do a little bit. There has to be big steps at the very beginning.
Yeah. What do you think North Korea would want to see from the United States?
Well, going in, they want the minimum. They want the minimum requirements on their end, and they would like to see. They're desperate, although I would add quickly, they're economically in desperate straits. Okay, so they need relief. Kim Jong Un now, within his highly controlled environment, is saying his big program for this era, quote unquote, is economic development. He can't get there without us. Without us opening up opportunities here. His relationship with China, it's just not going to cut it. So I think he's looking for economic relief.
How would you, there are some reports that I guess Trump and Kim Jong Un are going to have a one-on-one session with only translators in the room, to kick things off. How would you like to be a fly on that wall?
If I had enough money, I'd like to pay my way in, but I'm not a Wall Street guy, so I'm just going to have to be like you on the sidelines.
I
think it would be. I think that's the way it has to be done.
Yeah.
I'm betting on our guy. I think he's going to hold his own. I think he knows exactly how to posture. He knows that meeting is going to be very scripted. They're not going to be able to work it out in that first session, but there has to be a sense that we're not just playing games here. And I think the build up to this, I believe at this point, Kim Jong-un knows he can't do what his father and his grandfather have done in the past by posturing with negotiations, not doing. I think he knows there has to be a deliverable. And I think we may have reached a point in time where real progress can be made. Again, I don't want your listeners to think I'm thinking we're going to be denuclearized in a big hurry, but there will be demonstrative steps in the direction that would give us expectations, realistic expectations that will happen.
Obviously, we're visiting with Jack Devine here on the Chad Hasty Show, and obviously we're all talking about denuclearization. But those who know about North Korea and have heard about North Korea know it. It's not a nice and sweet regime outside of denuclearization or outside of their nuclear program. They run prison camps. The Kim family has assassinated who knows how many people, including members of their own family. I mean, this isn't a nice, sweet family that Trump is having to deal with here. Long term, do you think the United States can deal with Kim Jong Un remaining in power in North Korea?
Look, we have experience dealing with unsavory people. I mean, I think you've queued it up right. There should be no illusion that this is, a person that operates under the same value system we do. But we might be able to temper the extreme parts of that. And frankly, there's a long game here, and that is, over the long run, you would hope that economic progress and development, in and of itself, opening to the Western financing and so on, leads to an amelioration of these things for pragmatic reasons, not because of a change of heart or soul.
Mm-hmm. Visiting with Jack Devine. Before I let you go, I want to ask you from Kim Jong Un's angle. There have been all these rumors, and again, there's always rumors about North Korea, but that there could be army officials or military officials who plan a coup every now and then, or whatever it may be. Do you think that he may be taking a look at this as this is his chance to solidify power, and for him not to be overthrown? Does he have
I think he has really solidified power. In other words, I do think that it'd be really hard for good analysts to come up with a list of people that could represent a challenge to him. Having said that, you have this broader scheme of things that he needs to keep the people satisfied, not the coup plotters. And I think we tend to underestimate how much people can suffer, but in the case of North Korea, we've seen it demonstrated. They can suffer a lot. I think he's reached a point, though, where he needs to improve his own standing with his people. There has to be some deliverables in here. And if not, you just never know what, at Tiananmen Square, in the case of China, when something comes totally out of the blue. But at this point, I don't think it's about him consolidating his power within the structure, but basically to ameliorate the growing unease within the general population.
It'll be fascinating to watch and see how all this plays out. Jack Devine, founding partner and president of the Arkin Group and 32-year veteran of the CIA. I know you've seen a lot. I appreciate you joining us today here on the program.
Thank you for having me on, Chad.
Thank you. That's Jack Devine here on the Chad Hasty Show.